Last time I traveled abroad, I paid for an international SIM card and waited weeks for delivery, even though my bank offers a free eSIM.
Why, God, why?
After all, my phone doesn't support eSIM, or so I thought. Here's how I bypassed that limitation. Basically, I achieved this by using an eSIM adapter, which converts network credentials stored in an eSIM profile into a physical signal that a regular SIM can read. That's especially convenient if your phone has two SIM card slots, like mine, because in the first one you can use your regular SIM, and then in the other one you can use the adapter, which is pretty much just enabling the feature, you know? On the other hand, if your phone only has one SIM card slot, you obviously need to swap your default SIM card with the adapter when you travel internationally. But honestly, that's still way more convenient than using a regular international SIM card, because you can just reuse the adapter indefinitely. If you have an Android phone, you can just use an app to download the eSIM profiles to your adapter, and that's it. However, if you have an iPhone that doesn't support eSIM, then it's a little bit more complicated. To be honest, I thought all iPhones supported eSIM, but it seems like that's not the case. Any model released before the iPhone XR or models manufactured in China do not have that capability. So you would need an eSIM adapter as well. So I would say that's a pretty specific use case, but the main difference between using the adapter with the Android phones versus using them with the iPhones is that the iPhones can't really use an app to download the eSIM profiles. You can only use an app to enable or disable the profile. To download the eSIM profiles to this adapter, you actually need to use a computer, unfortunately. But how the hell do I connect a SIM card to my computer, you ask? Well, you need a card reader. Sorry about that. I read on a couple of websites that there are a couple of Android phones that you need to connect the adapter to your computer to be able to download eSIM profiles. But honestly, if you have an Android phone, I would recommend that you test the adapter before you purchase a separate card reader. That's the gist of it. It should be super simple, but unfortunately the companies that sell these adapters tend to make things harder than they need to be. So now I'll mention a few big brands that you should look out for. The biggest one seems to be eSIM.me, and to be honest, it also seems to be the worst. If you look on their website, they have three options. You can pay almost 25 euros to have an adapter that you can only use on one phone and can only store up to 5 eSIM profiles. You can pay almost 40 euros to have an adapter that you can use on any phone from a single brand and that can store up to 10 eSIM profiles. Or you can pay almost 70 euros for an adapter that you can use on any phone from any brand and that can store up to 15 eSIM profiles. All of them have unlimited downloads. But to use this adapter, you need to use their proprietary app. And to use the proprietary app, you also need an account. That's a pretty bad move if you ask me. Their pricing strategy is a bit complex. And for the cheaper, less flexible options, you can also pay to have access to more profiles or like switch phones and etc. They also don't mention anything about iPhone support. The second big brand that I found while searching online was Fiverr, and they only have two options. The first one is kind of a trial, I would say, because you can pay $12 to have an adapter that you can use to download 2 eSIMs, and that can actually store up to 15 profiles. So if you want to download more, you need to pay extra. Or you can buy their second option, in which you pay $25 to have unlimited eSIM downloads, and the storage space is the same, so 15 profiles. So their pricing strategy is way more friendly when compared to eSIM.me, and it's also way more affordable. However, I don't know why their checkout page just wouldn't work for me. Fiverr does mention iPhone support on their website. However, instead of selling a card reader, Fiverr tells you to use an Android phone.
For iPhone users, to use Ultra, please download eSIM through the app on Android phone in advance. Then insert the card into iPhone.
Which I'm not sure is very reasonable for regular iPhone users. And for Fiverr, you also need to use their proprietary app and you also need to create an account to be able to use their adapter. Last but not least, we have 9eSIM. They only have one option, in which you pay $24 for an adapter that you can use on pretty much any device. It has storage space for up to 50 eSIM profiles. You have unlimited eSIM downloads, and they also sell the card adapter that I mentioned for you to download the eSIM profiles through your computer. Sounds pretty close to the Fiber offer, but the main difference being that it's a little bit cheaper and that it has more than 3 times the storage space. But the cherry on top is that it works with open source software and you don't need an account to use their adapter. So this was a no-brainer for me, guys. One of the reasons for that is also because I managed to find one being sold in AliExpress for $28 with taxes and shipping included. And that's particularly good because taxes here in Brazil are crazy high. So I would say it's a pretty good deal for my fellow Brazilians. However, if you live in another country, I would suggest for you to get the adapter directly on the official website. In the description, you'll find affiliate links for AliExpress and the official 9eSIM website. So if you buy the adapter using those links, I do get a cut and you don't pay anything extra for that. You can also find generic open source eSIM adapters in AliExpress, but I always prefer to stick with named brands. So my recommendation is 9eSIM. But I guess that's it for today. See you guys next time.